almost forgot. Must stay consistent. All right. Um, sometimes I'm just unlisted, and I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is, but it is. Hmm. Hmm. Hello, Social Chameleon, and good morning, Crow. Welcome, both of you. Um, wow, I hope you guys had a good Wednesday. Mine was okay. I didn't actually leave my room much. I was just kind of in here for the majority of it, working on music, and boy, did that take a toll. Interesting. Social chameleon. At least what you're saying about your commission. That's odd. Why is that so? I've heard that somewhere, I think. Interesting. If I'm like, if I'm like that, does that work? What is that? Is that from something? I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is, but it's new to me. Um, thank you, Lindsay. I was actually just digging around in my closet looking for a shirt that I hadn't worn in a while. Because, I mean, I hadn't changed clothes since yesterday. Full disclosure, I guess. I haven't really left my room much. But yeah, I never wear this. It's rarely cold enough for me to wear this. It's a thermal. So it's got that thermal thread. I don't know. Good morning, Liana. And good morning, Lizzie. Good morning, Biz. Waffles and Omni streams. Sounds about right. What kind of waffles? What kind of waffles? Hold on, Biz. You got the waffles? What kind of waffles? Where from? Did you make them? What brand if you didn't? Ooh. Is it getting cool in LA yet? I mean, yeah. I think like every day is like 70s, lower 70s. Like in the mornings, you get your high 60s. Oh my god, the light pollution last night was amazing. Okay, so for those of you that live in big cities, or for those of you that live in cities, you're probably familiar with light pollution, but I know there's got to be at least one person in this stream that has not experienced light pollution, or has, or doesn't even know what light pollution is actually. When I'm saying light pollution, I'm not saying light pollution as opposed to heavy pollution. I'm saying light pollution as in like flashlight, like light pollution. Anybody live in a city that gets a lot of this? I like this. I like that passage, by the way. This is like a side note. I like that passage. The I like that a lot, but I also like Melancholy of a Trash Man. And they're just too, in my opinion, they're just a little bit too far apart from each other to fuse into one song. But they give me very similar vibes. Yeah, it does sound familiar, doesn't it, Lindsay? Yes, lots. Well, I could have guessed. Liana, I love light pollution. Diz is eating a blueberry Eggo waffle. Interesting. I have not had an Eggo in a very long time. Very long time. What kind of, do you eat them with syrup, Diz? And if so, what kind? Sorry, Grill and Diz. Good morning, Christ. You know, I said Cristo last time. I see now that there's an I in between the T and the O. Cristio? Cristio? That was 3 attempts. I think it's the first. Oh, right. This was for the shirt. Well, back to the light pollution conversation, guys. Light pollution. So Arizona, at least where I lived in Arizona, doesn't really get it. Every now and then, you'll get something similar to what light pollution feels like, and it's just if you live in the desert. Yeah, that was this morning. That was from this morning's medley. This morning's morning medley, Lindsay. It was, everything spawns off of that chord, right? All my songs come from this chord. Store brand this time says is talking about the syrup. So, in Arizona or in any desert, I'm sure some of you live in a desert, or at least one. Gonna hazard to guess one, please. Can one of you live in a desert? In the deserts, you can see the starry night sky because, well, it's a desert and there's really not that much light interference. But the cool thing about the desert sometimes, for those of you that have been in the desert at night, it is very, very dark. It's scary dark. You shouldn't be out there. Don't do it. But on full moons, there are particular nights when a full moon actually will light up the desert. Like, you can walk around and you can actually see things. It'll be like 2 a.m. and you can see in front of you, which maybe if you haven't experienced the like vapid void black darkness of a desert at night, maybe won't mean anything to you. But the desert is so dark at night that you really can't see anything. And so when there is a full moon, the amount of light, I think a lot of people don't realize the amount of light the moon actually provides. Because if you live in a big city, sometimes you have to look for the moon. Sometimes somebody will say, you ever been like with somebody and they say, oh my god, the moon looks so pretty right now, and you're like in your car like craning your neck around because you can't find it. You literally don't know where it is. A tree could be blocking it or something like that. You don't even know which direction to look in. In the desert, the moon is so bright, especially when it's full, that it's impossible to miss. You can't not know where it is. It's basically like a sun at that point. And it's a cool phenomenon that really only happens if you can get somewhere where you're truly, one, away from any other light source, and two, in a place that doesn't have a lot of trees. There aren't a lot of trees in the desert, so it's just kind of a lot of like open flat land, some mountains and hills, and so the moon really does, it shone. So, moving away from that to light pollution. Light pollution is something that does not happen in Arizona, but happens quite often in LA. And I remember the first time like leaving my apartment. I used to have a really bad sleeping schedule. It's kind of coming back now. But I used to have a sleeping schedule where I would go to sleep around maybe 11 midnight, and then I would wake up at about 3 a.m. And then I would walk to 7-Eleven, buy two Arizona teas, and because I was homesick, buy two Arizona teas, and I would drink one on the walk home, and then put one in the fridge, go back to sleep, wake up in the morning, drink the second one. That was like my routine in like 2015. And I remember one day walking out of my apartment at 3 a.m. and it was bright outside. Like the sky was kind of this weird, dull green, orange. I don't know. I have to have it in front of me. But like the sky was this dull color that was bright. And I could see everything. I could see everything as if it was like dusk. And it was 3 a.m. and I was like, I don't understand exactly what's happening here. And it was just because it was my first time experiencing light pollution, and I love it. I love the feeling of being out in the middle of the night and it being bright out. Stuff's good. Stuff's good. Ava's never noticed the wall on the photo. I mean, the photo on the wall before. Um, the photo on the wall wasn't there before I started closing the door in the streams, Ava. So you're very observant. You didn't miss something. It is new. The photo's only been there for, I would say, 10-ish streams at this point. Hmm. I was wearing long sleeves yesterday, Dar. Um, yeah, it was a weird sleeping schedule. I don't know. I don't know, actually. I don't know why that is. I guess I was just adjusting. Things are quiet in Arizona, and things are pretty loud in LA. And so I gradually adjusted to sleeping in an area that is kind of noisy. Now when I go home to like visit my parents, I have trouble sleeping because it's too quiet. I've like gotten accustomed to kind of the subtle sounds of the city and can miss them when I don't have them. Hmm. Leon, I love that. That's like a paradise for me. I love that so much. It takes because LA isn't nearly as foggy as the Bay is. Light pollution is not very frequent here. It only kind of happens when the temperatures drop a little bit lower and there's a little bit of moisture, creating fog. And so I would say light pollution only really happens here between like Halloween and New Year's. By Valentine's Day, if I'm just going to start plotting the year by holidays, by the time Valentine's Day comes around, the light pollution segment of LA is kind of over, and it makes me sad. I love light pollution, guys. I, I could make this whole stream just about my love for light pollution. I'm gonna name a song "Light Pollution." That's how much I love it. I can't. There's a glare. There's a glare on everything. Oh, word. Dar, I just never got into the habit of typing like LOL or LMAO or ROFL or whatever people are saying now, or using the crying laughing emoji. For some reason, all of these portrayals of laughter agitate me. I'm a haha person. And if it's funny, that's two haha. If it's really funny, that's three haha. If I've actually laughed out loud, that's like a four. That's like a 4 or 5 ha's. And it just increases exponentially from there. I only use hee hee when I'm doing something awful, or if I like a person I'm talking to. Are we talking about text etiquette now? It would be unnerving to see you crying laugh. Yeah, right? It wouldn't be natural. I use www. I use W's when I'm talking on a line. That's different. If I'm talking to very specific people online, Japanese people. If I'm talking to Japanese friends online, like if I'm talking to like Q, or if I'm talking to Sammy, or if I'm talking to like in the blue shirt, I'll use W's. But that's just regional, baby. Um, hmm. Don't think about it. Don't think about it, chameleon. Instagram story, so I'm not going to do the majority of it here. But the chords that it was going on top of were these. It's two different directions. Whoa. Whatever. Piano is so weird. Music in general is very weird. Um, it's like a Reading Rainbow song, Dar. I'm probably gonna add more lyrics to it, but that was the vocal melody that I had. There it is. I need to work on that passes. Um, I don't remember that. I don't remember that meme. I wasn't really on Vine. Dar, I'm sorry. I hope somebody in the stream does. Who invented the straw? And what were they up to? What were they doing? What was that all about? I'm so close to being able to nail that bass line. I'm so close, guys. What's in Serbia? Camilla? Yeah, what kind of Mr. Rogers vibe says is. Thanks, Diz. uh, I like that joke. Someone says it's a personality test. Apparently, it's kind of popular. So many people do it. Oh, I don't really do popular things. What's a popular thing I do? Genshin Impact. Is that even popular anymore? I feel like it's not popular anymore. I feel like a lot of people just stopped playing it, and then I kept playing it like a fool, like an idiot. Good morning, Buzz Buzz. If I didn't say good morning to you, I feel like I did. But just in case. And hello, Mike. Good morning to you as well. I hope all is well with you. Boba. You know what's interesting, Jesse? You know what's interesting? I think I live in a bubble. Because is Boba popular? I would say yes, but I think it's not actually. I think it's popular in very specific places. You know, right? I feel like K-pop's popular. I feel like I constantly talk about boba, and I never not get somebody going, "What is boba?" I never not get somebody asking me what it even is, or, I don't know. Boba is popular in bigger cities, for sure, for sure. That's rough. You don't say this is Mike. No worries. I was just talking about it with my friends just before. No worries. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Oh, is that the Brig Myers? Brig Myers Briggs? Myers Briggs? I don't know what the TI stands. Oh, probably, maybe. If MB stands for Myers Briggs, and then TI stands for Test Index? I don't know. I might be thinking of something different. Oh, never mind. It is. I was right. Jesse says Myers Briggs type indicator. Type indicator. That's stupid. Don't take pics of me posting. I just drink it. I don't take pics of me posting. I just drink it. That's fair, Mike. Very, very interesting distinction. Hmm. What are some popular things I like that I don't take pictures of myself doing? Um, I feel like boba got popular 10 years ago and then it never stopped. I see this conversation's hard. Okay, listen, this conversation's difficult because I come from I come from a place called Arizona. And there is a very big city. A lot of people think Arizona is just some podunk place. It's a desert where no one lives. Arizona's massive, and Phoenix has a wildly huge population. It's a very big city, and there wasn't any boba there when I left there. I left there not that long ago, a big major city, to come to LA where there was boba everywhere. So that's why I say that boba isn't necessarily as widely popular as everybody who happens to live in a hub city thinks it is. It's like, and granted, I've lived here for almost 6 years now, so I'm sure in the 6 years that I've lived here, I might go back to Arizona right now, into Phoenix, and find a bunch of boba. Who knows? It's forever growing, for sure. But it's definitely, it's definitely in small bubble places, for sure. Rolled ice cream is just, uh-oh. Do you not like rolled ice cream, Lindsay? That's interesting. I've never heard a disparaging take on rolled ice cream. Boba's more of a West Coast thing, to be honest, says Cyber. Yeah, okay. I'll agree with that. As somebody that hasn't spent a lot of time on the East Coast, but the time that I have spent on the East Coast, I haven't seen that many boba shops. I've seen quite a few boba shops in New York, but even like all of the ones in Manhattan compared to just LA is like hilarious. Like how fewer there are there. So yeah, I would say maybe it's more of a West Coast thing. Mike says boba is kind of an LA thing. There's a lot of boba in the Bay, though. There's a hilarious amount of boba in the Bay. I would just blatantly call it a California thing, maybe. But I hear you. As somebody that lives in LA, there is a lot of boba here. What is rolled ice cream? Says Jesse. Ooh, I like it when people don't know things in the stream. You put melted cream in a cold slab so it makes a sheet. Aw, Cyber. Cyber, you took all the fun out of it. Yeah, Cyber's right, though. Rolled ice cream is like reverse hibachi. Whoa. Now Cyber made it fun again. See, I love that. You strip all the fun out of it. You boilerplate it, you brass tacks it, and then you reintroduce the fun. Yeah, it's like reverse hibachi. That's good. I've never heard anybody say that before. Um, I saw a really revolting video of some man making rolled ice cream in a sensual way, so it's tainted for me. I'm sorry to hear that, Lindsay. Rolled ice cream is inherently sensual, though, and I can't think of it any other way, but I do enjoy it. As somebody that doesn't even like ice cream, I think one of the main reasons I like rolled ice cream is because it scoops. The rolled ice cream that places that I go to don't really give you that much ice cream. The way it's rolled and stuff like that, it's very little ice cream, and it's actually a small enough serving for me to finish. Um, but other than that, I feel like it's maybe just gimmicky, just looks a certain way. Hot pockets of culture. Dang, did I say that? Did somebody else on the stream say that? I don't think I've had rolled ice cream since now. Really? I can see how somebody who likes ice cream a lot, Lindsay, and can consume a lot of it, would not like rolled ice cream because you just don't get as much ice cream for your money. But as somebody who gets like violently ill when consuming ice cream, but occasionally likes the taste, right? Because there's like green tea ice cream that I really like. I really like lavender ice cream, and so going to a place like a rolled ice cream place is pretty fun for me. Plus the toppings, right? Oh, Cyber, I did say it. Hot pocket of culture. What was I talking about when I said that? Was I talking about Jamaican patty? I do remember this guy. Yeah, it was a Jamaican patty conversation. Why not just get some Briars at the store and call it a day? Because I wouldn't be able to eat it. But yes, for an ice cream lover, might as well go to the store and just buy like a pint of ice cream. If you love ice cream, maybe. Um, mm-hmm. Really sucks to not be able to eat ice cream, says Mike. Yeah, I guess so. Uh, Less portions and more expensive. Yes, it is. Um, Rolled ice cream for the experience rather than the actual ice cream. I would agree that there's a lot of things that are like that. As somebody that doesn't eat sushi, there's a revolving sushi place. Well, there's a lot, but there's one particular one in Los Angeles that a lot of people go to, and quite a few people have told me the sushi there isn't even really that good. It's just the experience of having sushi roll up on a conveyor belt that people like. I think there's a lot of like pay for the experience versus pay for the value or the taste of the actual food. I've been guilty of this specifically for drinks. I don't really do this for food a lot, but I've done this for drinks. Like sometimes I'll go to a boba place and they'll have the drink where it's like layered, where it's like orange on the bottom and then pink in the middle or something weird like that. I'm like, oh, that looks fun, and I'll get it. And sometimes it tastes good, but does it taste $5 good? That's an entire pizza's worth of money. It doesn't. It doesn't taste that good. Mm, mm, mm. No, Leon, I've never done that. I didn't even know that was a thing. Um, Experience is value, says Jesse. Yeah, I'm gonna back all the way off that hill. I'm not dying there. Experience is value. Perceived value is a thing. Yes, that's also a thing. Hype beasts exist. People spent hundreds of dollars on bricks that had the Supreme logo on them. I know that perceived value is a thing, but I mean, my whole point was that I can't eat that much ice cream, so rolled ice cream is nice for me. Wow, rolled ice cream in Boston doesn't sound right to me for some reason. Um, I will say that a lot of rolled ice cream places in my neighborhood have gone out of business. Rolled ice cream and boba are two places that like open up really really fast, and then they also go out of business really fast and are replaced usually by another boba place or another rolled ice cream place. It reminds me of the big like froyo invasion of whatever year that was. I remember when like frozen yogurt places were just popping up, and I was like, why is this a thing now? I feel like, or at least in my particular area of LA, rolled ice cream and boba is what froyo was at one point in time. But Mike's never had rolled ice cream. Don't worry, Mike. You're not really missing out on much. Hmm. I always want to play that. What is that from? What is that? Does that sound familiar to anybody? Sounds like Death Note, says Ava. I didn't watch the anime. Was there pretty like spook music and the Death Note anime? I didn't watch the anime. You know what I did watch? I watched the Netflix movie though. That's what I did watch. Um, but was that the type of music that was in it? Isn't that the Jason theme? Ooh, I can't remember what the Jason theme is because if I try to think hard and remember the Jason theme, I just hear the Mike Myers theme in my head. I hear the like dun 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 dun. I can't remember what the Jason theme was. Hmm. Oh, word up, Mike. Yeah, was there even music to that? Was there even music to that, or was it just the weird like the? I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. But Ava and Mike had it. Crap! Did I do an L impression? It does sound like that. Well, here's the thing. I haven't watched the Death Note anime, but now I'm playing it and I'm thinking it sounds like Death Note, which makes no sense. I don't have the context to back that up. But it definitely makes me want to like, write people's name in a book that'll kill them. Hearing it. Extremely unpopular opinion. I like the. Oh my god. I really. Oh, Ava. Thank you. Ava. I like that movie. I like that movie, and I've talked about it in the stream. Maybe you weren't in that stream, but I stood on a hill and I defended the Seattle Death Note movie. I mean, I actually liked it. I watched it with a group of my friends, and they like tore me to pieces in my own living room, in my own home, because I enjoyed that movie. I'm not gonna. Here, we gotta move. We gotta move. We gotta move because I can feel this not being great. We gotta move. But I I will say I did love that movie, and anybody ever that comes to me and they're like, I hated that movie, I do not fight them on it. I say, you know what? I get it. I understand why anybody would hate that movie, but I thoroughly enjoyed the Netflix Death Note, and I think that there are a lot of reasons why I enjoyed it that actually didn't really have to do with the movie itself. Like, I don't want to get into it, but I did like that movie. I did like that movie, and I thought that it was given an opportunity to do a thing, and it said, "Hey, let's just do something. Let's do something," and I appreciate it. Now, Could it have been better? Of course. Would it have been better as a series instead of a feature-length film? Yes, absolutely. I would have preferred like 12 episodes to 12 like hour-long episodes to like one movie, but again, I enjoyed it. Um, I'm gonna move on. I'm gonna back off this hill and move on. Yeah, Lakeith Stanfield's in it. See, like, no, I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm not talking about this anymore. I'm going away. Speaking of Lakeith Stanfield, though, I think I need to text one of my friends who just saw. Christ. Oh, I'm gonna give myself a heart attack. Sorry about that, guys. Um, what was I talking about? Oh, I'm like sweating. That was horrifying. I'm sorry. I don't remember. It's Death Note. Lakeith Stanfield. Sorry, one of my friends just saw. One of my friends just saw. Sorry for bothering you, and that's a movie that I thoroughly enjoyed. Like I loved that movie, but nobody I know has seen it, and so I have nobody I can talk about it with. But also a very good movie. Sorry, I need to like drop my heart rate or something. I'm like still like stressed out now. Whew. Oh, Lindsay's seen it? I love that movie, Lindsay. I love that movie. And I think that I never, when people are like, I didn't like that movie, just like Death Note, I never jump on them and I'm like, you didn't get it, or like, it went over your head, or like, I can't believe you didn't like it. I totally understand why somebody wouldn't like that movie, but that movie was like made for the exact type of person I am. Like, looking at that movie, I was like, wow, this movie works how my brain works. It was really good. Oh, it was so good. I feel like I feel, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Lindsay. You're not black. You're not a black person. I've seen you. Like there are definitely some movies that can be like told, and they're like, this is a movie about the blank experience. This is a movie about like a teen experience. This is a movie about a musician's experience. This is a movie about a yada yada yada. You know, movie can be told from a perspective, but also be consumable and not necessarily jarring or revolting to somebody who isn't of that experience. If somebody else can come in and watch and be like, and not go like, I don't get this, or like, this is alienating me. And I think that that's a difficult thing to do. And I feel like, sorry to bother you, did that. But obviously I'm in the black bubble, so I don't know. I don't know. Maybe somebody else sees it and they're like, this feels... Anyways, whatever. I'm gonna move on. Mike said something. Sorry, I'm like, I don't want to lean over this keyboard anymore. This is why I have a mouse. Okay. Goodbye, Mike. Thank you for being in the stream. I hope you enjoy the rest of your oh my god, it's already Thursday. Hope you enjoy the rest of your Thursday. I like that, Umbe. When somebody told me about Black Mirror, when somebody said, you should really watch the show Black Mirror, I thought Black Mirror... I thought Black Mirror was going to be a show very specifically about the black experience in America. It was like, that's what I thought it was going to be. Like holding up the mirror to Black America. But not only was it not American, but it also was not about what I thought it was about. Hello, Josiah. Josiah says, sorry to bother you, it was really good, but it approached the topic in a really weird way. Yes. Which I appreciate. I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump off this like I said I was going to a minute ago, but I will say when you're trying to tell a story, you can do it in a really cool way. You can do it in a very roundabout way. You can do it in a way that nobody will gather. You can do it in a way that people will get. Whatever. It's like how it's like how is it Wachowski or Wachowski? It's like the Wachowskis said when they said that Matrix, like the Matrix, was a trans allegory, and Keanu Reeves was like in it, and I was like, I didn't know that, but that's pretty cool. It's like sometimes you can write something that does have a message that's just really deeply seated, and like people aren't going to get it, and that's fine. And the people that do, and the people that don't, it's fine. And sometimes you can just be very, very straightforward with like, hey, this is a story about like racism, or this is a story about sexism. People can look at it and they can get that, you know. And then other times you can do something like, I don't know, like A Bug's Life, where A Bug's Life was like about economics, but um, it was definitely a kids movie. And the kids don't have to know that it's about economics, but you can go back and look at it now and be like, holy crap, this movie's depressing. Um, and so I think that's Sorry to Bother You, in the same way that like Jordan Peele approached like a very racial topic from a horror viewpoint. Sorry to Bother You approached a very racial topic and like I don't even know what I want to call that movie. Dark comedy, I guess. I guess dark comedy would be apt without giving away anything because that movie takes some very very sudden turns. But I will say dark comedy. Anyways, I didn't realize the 2 years the soundtrack is Sorry to Bother You. Yes. Yes. Someone once made a flowchart of Black Mirror episodes that's pretty helpful to watch with your prior trigger warnings because some episodes are lighthearted and some are really huge bummers. That's actually really interesting, Cyber. One, that's also very helpful. I know for a lot of people that like can see something and it can like ruin their whole day. Um, for me, Black Mirror was. I'm not complaining about that. I'm definitely not complaining about that because I'm definitely somebody that can watch pretty much anything and then like walk away from it and eat a bagel and be okay. But I do think that I noticed that pretty late on in Black Mirror where I was like, some of these episodes are funny and feel good, and some of these episodes are horrible, and some of them are like actually scary or like I'm not gonna say gory, but like maybe disturbing visually. And there really is no like from the you don't get it from the title or anything. It's not like there's one really dark season that like there isn't really a narrative arc of the show either. So you can be like, oh, this is typically where the season gets pretty bad. It's just kind of like, yeah, it is pretty sporadic. Um, Black Mirror. It's interesting how much of Black Mirror I've consumed and forgotten. I only remember like 4 episodes, and they're like the 4 big ones, you know, like the one with the robot dog, the one with John Hamm, the like 10 million credits or whatever that one was called, with a credit thing. What's the difference between this and that? Lindsay says, "What did y'all think of Bandersnatch? Whoever did that, I did it. I didn't care for it. Um, but I think it was really good. Let me shoot myself a little bit of bail. And Bandersnatch. The reason I didn't like it is because I didn't like the type of media that is. I don't really like choose your own anything. I don't like that kind of stuff. I don't like things that have multiple endings. I don't even really like that in games. I don't like branching paths. I feel like my life is one big branching path. One of the reasons I play games is to get like very consumable, one note, like one arc narratives. Like I wouldn't really want to read a book either that had like branching plot lines. But I think I play games to get away from TV shows this time. Yeah, I don't know. I think it was really cool. It just wasn't for me specifically because I don't want to be involved in the media. When I look at movies, when I listen to music, I don't want to have input. And maybe some people do. And they're the type of people that would have liked Bandersnatch. But I did think it was really cool and ambitious. Season 1 and 2 are stellar. Last I watched, it kind of started to suck in my opinion, says Umbe. I think season 3 was good too, question mark. I don't remember anything from it. I didn't watch the final season, or the latest season, I should say. If that was season 3, then I take my opinion back about season 3. I think that might have been season 4, though. I don't know. Lindsay loves multiple endings. So maybe you liked Bandersnatch? I don't know. Or maybe you didn't like it for completely different reasons. Bander was fun with some friends. A cool experiment. Nothing more. Also, you couldn't redo some endings or it would reset, which sucked. I think it occupies... no, I did not like it. Oh. I think it occupies a different place in my brain. I'll put it that way. Like, when I want to watch stuff on Netflix, that's not what I want to do. But, I haven't really developed an interest for that type of media anyway. So it was like, I didn't even... Yeah, I don't know. I would have liked it more if it was just a thing. There was a few, like, turns or whatever. Like, there was a few things where I was like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. That's fun. You know, but... You know how it is. I think it was very ambitious, and I will always, you know, first give people a head start for like trying to do a thing that wasn't everywhere, that wasn't super popular, even if I didn't like the thing. What if an alternate ending leads to a different canonical timeline, so it's still not necessarily something you have to get, but it's not just like an Easter egg, says Diz. Speaking of... Are you talking about video games? Are you talking to me at all? I just didn't like that there wasn't really a true good ending, but they went out of their way to make it equivalent of a UFO ending from Silent Hill. Oh. But it's Black Mirror, so what did I expect? Yeah. Yeah, that's fine, it's fine. Once there's multiple endings, I think my brain, like, detaches from caring about the story that much. And I don't like that I do that. I wish I didn't do that. My brain does this thing where I'm like, oh, the story isn't real. I mean, which, none of my... I'm moving on. This is that they were talking to me, and they were specifically talking about games. They say, what if in games... an alternate ending leads to a different canonical timeline, so it's still not necessarily something that you have to get, but it's not just like an Easter egg. I've never experienced that in games, Diz. I've never experienced an ending of a game where there was multiple endings that led to two different timelines. I think that's kind of somewhat like a thing that happens in Zelda, but it's not for multiple endings. It's just like branching timelines from games. I know that that's a Zelda thing, but in my experience, I've never really played a game where there were several endings, like, you know, Mass Effect or what have you, where all the endings did lead to canonical timelines. I've never really experienced that. I would say that I've actually played very few games that have multiple endings. And of those games, I have not gotten more than one ending. I usually just play it once, and I'm satisfied with the ending that I got. Seems like it's about the capacity to have multiple endings. Real easy way to fix that, just play it once and the problem solved. Yeah, that's what I'd be doing. That's what I'd be doing, Cyber. Like, if somebody's like, if I'm playing a game, I'm trying to think of a game, actually. Technically, Ghost of Tsushima kind of had, like, choices that you could make that would somewhat influence kind of things that may or may not have happened in the end, probably. And yeah, I just played the game once through. I did the thing that I always do. When there's a moral thing in games, I always choose the good side because choosing the bad side makes me feel gross. So I choose the good side. I get the good ending, the Paragon ending, or the, you know, the Heroes ending or whatever, and then I don't play the game again. I don't play it anymore. That's the primary turnoff of fighting game stories for me. None of the endings matter. Ooh. Jesse, this is true and also not true, in a way. Oh, never mind. I mean, I guess we're both wrong. or both, right? Depending on your event. Yeah, some I would say that some fighting games actually do have a storyline that does kind of matter because they actually went in to write like these weaving storylines, so everybody in the end kind of gets where they were trying to go, especially if it's not tournament based. Because I know games like Tekken or something like that where it's tournament based, it's like yeah, not everybody can win the tournament, but some fighting games do have good endings. But I do hear what you're saying. A lot of fighting games don't, and I don't particularly. Nah. I don't want to talk about fighting games. Ocarina of Time is like that says it is. Yes. Um, but you like the Bioshock, right? One or two? Or three? Are you just talking about the series, Lindsay? I need I need more because I don't like all of Bioshock. um, I did like Bioshock 1 and 2. Yes. Did Bioshock 1 and 2 have multiple endings? That's how long it's been. I don't even remember. Um, those are the ones I liked anyway, so those are the ones I care about. Oh, word. I don't even remember. Did they have multiple endings? I think most of the fighting games out now have a canon story, says Umbe. I agree with this, but one of the problems with me in fighting games is I feel like with fighting games, I tend to care more about the story half the time than the actual fighting, and it bothers me that I can't play it in RPG form. Like I would actually like to play an action RPG version of like Guilty Gear, or and I know that that's like a really like divisive take. Or I would like to play like a an action RPG version of like a lot of fighting games. Maybe not Street Fighter, but definitely something like Guilty Gear. Um, Bioshock does have multiple endings, but it hinges on whether or not you save the little sisters. Oh, well, okay. I didn't know that that like made a huge impact on the ending. Actually, I thought it was just like a gameplay ending thing. But I did save them, so I got whatever ending that was. Samurai Showdown had a tactic RPG game, but it's only in Japan. Boo! Yeah, that's what was. That's yeah, and that's what was weird. Hmm. Mortal Kombat did a ton of action RPGs. I did play the Mortal Kombat action RPG, the Sub Zero one, where it's a side scroller, and I absolutely hated it. I also played the Tekken action RPG game where you're Nina and you're on a cruise ship, and I also hated that game as well. But I haven't lost hope. I think that there is potential for me to like one of these games. I always play them when they happen, but yeah, I just never end up actually enjoying them. What was it called? It was called like Degrees. The Nina one. It was like Degrees of Danger or Degrees of. It was Degrees was in the name. Something Degrees. Um. Anywho, Bioshock was fun. Although I must say, when I play Bioshock, I and play Bioshock One and then I play Bioshock Two, I don't really think of them in tandem with each other at all. I think of them as obviously happening in the same city, but it's been so long since I played them. I don't even know like the chronological like how many years was to have passed in between the two games, and I honestly do not remember how Bioshock Two ends. I suppose it doesn't really matter. Don't tell me in the stream. I'm getting out of this Bioshock conversation, but I did thoroughly enjoy that game. And honestly, I enjoyed three also. It just wasn't as memorable to me. I didn't like I don't remember anything from it, and I think it's because probably because of the setting change. You know, it just felt different, and a lot of it didn't like stick to my ribs, I guess. Dun, 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 dun. Bum, 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 I was singing in a different key again. That was what played Midnight Drift too. Oh. Oh, maybe. I don't know. Hmm. This chord is so weird. I had a breakthrough with a song that I'm working on. I told you a while back, and I was writing it. And last night I was just messing around, and bam, new developments. That's how it works, baby. That is how it works. Just don't look. Just don't look. Just don't look. I think that happens to me a lot. And the good and also the great and also bad thing about music development is that there's never not room to grow. Um, the song I'm gonna recommend a song in the stream at the end. I'm bringing it back, baby. I'm bringing it back. Season 3. Why not start now? Anyways, you can never not grow. And sometimes as a musician, even after you've been making music for like a year or something, sometimes this can be like annoying. Sometimes you'll feel like you really like got your chops or whatever, then somebody will be like, "Yo, what you know about soft clippers?" And you're like, "Soft clipper? What even is that?" And you'll open a soft clipper in like FL Studio or something like that, and you'll see the knobs, and you'll turn some of them, and you're like, "I don't really understand what this is doing. I feel like it's not doing anything." And then somebody, I don't know, one of your heroes is talking about how they made all of their songs. They're like, I swear by it. Soft clip everything. You got a soft clip. I'm glad I spent 6 years developing my soft clip production chain. And then you're like, dang, do I need to know how to soft clip? And you go and you learn it, and then maybe you actually do something cool with it. But then right after you've done that, then somebody's going to talk about like reverb automation and why that's important. I remember, I almost can remember where every single one of my techniques in FL Studio came from. Like, I can very distinctly remember a conversation I had with Raiku, who no longer makes music, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he works for Reebok now. He like designs shoes. Go Raiku. But me and him were, where were we actually? I think we were at my house. Yeah, he was over here because we went to go see Lego Batman that day, and I was really weirded out because he didn't have any money, and he called his mom, and his mom like just put money in his bank account so we could go see Lego Batman, and I was like, sorry, that has nothing to do with this story. Anyways, he was over at my house and we were working on music, and he was like showing me a drum rig that he had built, and I was like, this is cool, this is all pretty standard, and I was like, how are you getting the snare to do that? He also got me into a few artists, but I was like, how are you getting the snare to do that? And he was like, you automate reverb. He was like, you can just have the reverb on a sound, and instead of just having it always on that sound, you can have the reverb really quiet, and then the sound hits, and then you have the reverb slowly come in, and it creates this really cool effect. And I was like, huh, you don't say. And then immediately, like 2 weeks later, I made the song Key Lime, and if you listen to Key Lime, there's mad reverb automation on the snare. And so, I can remember where most of those skills came from. Most of those, oh, get out of here. I knew it. You open the window for 2 seconds and in they come. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I can remember where most, like, all the skills came from. Hey Daniel, I didn't even know you were in here. Most of those skills came from. I can remember where, like, the way I program my drums, where that came from. I can remember where, like, the way that I write vocal melodies, where that came from. The way I write lyrics, where that came from. And it's usually something that I didn't invest a lot of time in, and then somebody told me, hey, this is the thing that I swear by. And I was like, that's the thing that I neglect. And then I kind of started trying to learn it. Right now, I'm trying to learn, is there a plugin I used for what? Is there a specific plugin I used for what? Reverb automation? Fruity Reverb, the one that comes free in Fruity Loops, if that's what you're talking about. Yeah, I use Fruity Reverb to automate reverb. What was that? What was I saying? I can remember where most of those skills came from. But right now what I'm trying to develop is one, thick arrangements. And when I say thick arrangements, I talked about this a little bit in the previous stream where it was like, not everything has to be complicated. A lot of times when I'm writing like chord progressions, I try to make them super complicated. Messing around with chords, but it doesn't have to be like that. Sometimes you can make a really thick arrangement just by hitting 2 chords. You know, if you think about songs like Embrace is a pretty thick arrangement, only 2 chords. Think about songs like Button Willow, pretty thick arrangement, same 2 chords actually. You think about the song Cyrus, also very fun production, same 2 chords. I'm only using 2 chords in a lot of these songs. And in those 3 songs I just named, it's the same 2 chords. It's chord number 1, chord number 2. Those are the only 2 chords I use in those songs. But you can make the arrangement fun with things like rhythm, with things like accents. And so I have a song that I'm making right now where I'm doing like little like trumpet accents and stuff like that on it just to give it rhythm, to give it life. And I feel like this is not the way I typically make songs. When I'm making music, a lot of what I end up doing is getting bored actually. I'll make, a chord progression. I'm just like, this is boring, or I'll make a bass line that's pretty simple. Ooh, that's actually kind of fun. Hmm, hold on. Oh, that's nice. This is not the same. This and this are not the same. Hmm. Crap. Anyways, I can get a like a simple chord, simple bass line, right? And that's like pretty repetitive, right? But if you have that, and then you have like little glockenspiel here, and you have the flute playing the same thing that glockenspiel is, like layering sounds. I'm trying to get better at layering, and not necessarily for interest, not to draw the listener's attention. I'm trying to layer to make a full arrangement, so that then when I sing over it, my voice isn't competing with a lot of different instruments melodically, but it is part of a richer arrangement, if that makes sense. That's something that I'm trying to get better at now. I'm also trying to learn more chord cadences and chord uh, shapes. I'm trying to, because I do feel like in my playing, I do hit the same ones over and over. And this isn't a good or bad thing. This is just a thing that you, even as an artist, should always be aware of. As an artist, always know where you are, where your strengths and weaknesses lie. Not necessarily always trying to destroy your weaknesses and lean on your strengths, but also not trying to avoid your strengths and develop your weaknesses all the time. Your strengths are part of you as an artist. And if you tend to always hit chords this way, with your left hand mostly just handling like octave bass and then you hit things like that, that can be part of your strength. Something that you do a lot doesn't have to be like a bad thing. Um, a lot of artists develop their entire style based off of a thing that they do a lot, just a thing that's comfortable with them. So don't ever feel guilty for having that. Be open to developing weak parts in your arrangement or in your performance, which is something that I'm trying to do. But always know that your strengths contribute to your voice. A lot of your weaknesses aren't really going to contribute to your voice. And I know voice sounds more sonic, right? It sounds more like music, but as an artist, I think that your voice can be visual, your voice can be tactile. Your voice can be anything. It's just who you are through your music. Hello, Space Boy. And so, try to keep that in mind. For a pretty long time, I did beat myself up over a very, very omni boy thing I do, which is taking pizzicato strings and layering them with glockenspiel bells and then playing that out. That is a thing that I developed personally, like way back. I want to say on Paprika. That might have been the first song. That or Cloud Surfing. I'm almost a Cloud Skipper. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's something that I developed a long time ago, and there are other artists that also use pizzicato strings, and I think a lot of the other artists that have worked really hard to develop pizzicato strings. That's not it. Yeah, stuff like that. Like a strong bell underneath a pizzicato string is a thing that I would do a lot in like 2014, 2015. That just sounds like an old Omni Boy song now. And I think once I started getting into 2017, 2018, partially because I was being compared to anybody else that just happened to use a pizzicato string underneath a glockenspiel. On top of that, and the fact that I just felt like I had kind of hammered that sound to death, I tried to escape that sound. And you can hear it in the music. There is a brief period of time where I was like not using it as much, but then you hear it in like Daydream. I was like, you know what? I think that's my strength. That's like a part of the character of my sound. And so I stopped kind of running away from it and started just embracing it while working on other things. It can just be a part of your sound. That's okay. Oh boy. Lenny says you just make a automation clip from the Fruity Reverb. Yes. You would automate the entire. You could do it any kind of way. You can automate anything. So you can automate the entirety of the reverb signal that's on the effects rack, or you can just automate the wet of the reverb, which I've also done. You can do it a lot of different ways. Automation is fun. Never be afraid to automate. I don't know my strengths, weaknesses as a musician yet. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, a lot of my strengths and weaknesses I still don't even know yet. I mean, I don't think you ever know all of them. Or some people don't know any of them still. I feel like one of the easiest ways, in my experience, to learn your strengths and weakness is to make music next to people. Or like make music in a scene of people who make music. And then it's just like, you're somebody and you're like, I've been making music for about a year. This is my homie. They've been making music for about a year or 2 years or whatever. Or 6 months, and then you do a song, and then they do a song, and you're like, oh, how'd you do that? That's like literally the basis of all of my weaknesses discovered, was looking at my homie and seeing them do something weird and going like, wait, you have all the same, you have 2 hands just like me, you have 2 eyes, you have one computer, you have Fruity Loops, how come you did that and I don't have that? How come I couldn't do that? Anyways. I'm learning to not be lazy, says Umbe, and automate more, but I'm still super against automating every little thing. Sure. There are certain things that I'm against automating until I wasn't. Like I don't really like automating volume. That's a nightmare. I don't like it when people have like people, for example, everyone in the stream. Some people in the stream know this. Some people don't. If you're listening to like a Katy Perry song, or you're listening to a Justin Bieber song, Justin Bieber's voice is not the same volume throughout the entire track. A lot of times, what they have is if there's instruments coming in the hook or whatever, they'll automate Justin Bieber's voice slightly louder so that it's not getting drowned out by these new instruments that are being brought in. This is a thing that happens a lot in pop music, and it's very annoying for somebody like me to have to deal with, because if you're automating the volume of an instrument, you now have to make sure that the relationships that this instrument shares with the instruments around it doesn't change so jarringly that people will notice a volume shift. But there's a lot of automation. I think that pop producers automate maybe the most out of anybody I've ever seen work. Hip-hop producers seem to automate the least out of anybody I've ever seen work. And then EDM is somewhere in the middle. But I think that I usually when I'm automating stuff, it's very, I think of like automation in 2 different ways, where there's like very tactile automation, like you can hear exactly what's happening, like it's like I'm automating the pitch of Umbe's voice, or I'm automating the cutoff of these chords, or I'm automating the BPM of this song. You can really hear what's happening there. And then there's more subtle automation, like I'm automating an EQ to come in that's just cutting a little bit of the lows. You can even think of sidechain as automation. Sidechain compression is typically a form of automation. So, Think about that. Lumpy says, game staging in pop songs is a pain. Some of the pictures of pop songs stems with like 100 layers of automation make me scream internally. Yeah, I have a few songs like that. That's one of the things that I don't like about vocals. Like a lot of people will think, a lot of people will ask questions like, "How do you mix vocals?" or "How do you record vocals?" or "What's a trick about making? How do you make the vocals sound good?" And there's no real easy answer. But I will say that my instrumental songs are about this thick on my screen, and my instrumental songs just adding Omni Boy vocals, it easily becomes about this thick because usually recording your vocal line more than once, you're like doubling your vocals, so that's already like four, lines, and then you have your automation for it, and that adds more lines. Then you have, there's a lot of automation on vocals. I would say that the vocals are the most automated thing in my experience making music. Daniel says my biggest weakness is wanting to rush everything, and I'll want to make something really complex and not want to have to do every individual thing and give up. Daniel. What a relatable, oh my god, what a relatable comment. I watched a video of a guy who brought in a professional trumpeter. I'm going to say trumpet person. They brought in a professional trumpet person to do a live sample. But then he chopped it up and automated it, so it sounded like a synth plug-in. I don't know anything about production. But it seemed like a waste. I'm going to say, yes, that was a waste. That was stupid. Why bring him in? I can scream into a microphone and turn it into a synth. Anyways, back to Daniel's comment. Daniel, I'm glad that you said this. I have a few responses to it. I think, is this 264? This is not 264. 264, there is no way it would sound this nice. This is Omniboy 2016 is what this is. Maybe that wasn't the right terminology, but it still sounded like a trumpet. But he removed all of the human nuance to it. Boo! Nuance is important. Okay, listen. Daniel. As somebody who has a lot of very complex pieces of music, here's what you need to do. Daniel. By the way, Daniel, preface this by saying I have a completely different workflow than you, obviously, clearly. I know you've been in Friday streams at least once, so you've seen what my workflow somewhat consists of. So take this with a grain of salt, but just take it. When you, I like this sound. Aw, this is my like happy home, isn't it? This sound is my. It's where I live. Anyways, Daniel, what I usually do to fight this, because I actually have that same thing. It's very difficult for me, Daniel, to work on a song from nothing to a grain of salt to a Thanksgiving feast. It's very, very difficult. So what I typically will end up doing is I have a lot of grains of salt. I'll work on something, Daniel, and like you say, where you're like, I want this to sound big, but I don't have it right now. Don't work on it so intently. And I know that this is like one of those things where it's like, yeah, Omni, I get it. Better said, easier said than done. But usually what I'll do for example, a Friday stream, Daniel, is we will work on anything from 3 to 7 songs. And what I'll usually do is I'll open up a song and I'll go, you know what? What does this song need? And there's already a lead line, right? That's going like, the lead line's going, da 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 da. Or like ba 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 da da da. What is that? No, I can't hum that. Actually, that's unreleased. There's like already a synth line doing that. like, you know what I want on that? I want just a glockenspiel, Daniel. I want just a glockenspiel to mimic the lines that are already happening in the synth. So then I hit record and I just do the same lines. And then once I have that glockenspiel there, I spend a lot of time on that glockenspiel. I'm moving the notes to get it just right on the playlist, you know. Um, Shifting things slightly. I open up like reverb. I get the reverb sounding perfect. I get the delay sounding as good as I want it to sound. I EQ it so I'm taking out a little bit of the low end so it's not competing with the synth or anything like that. Maybe I pan it slightly to the right. Um, I'm doing all that on one sound, Daniel, and then I'll leave the song. And then I'm done with the song. Can I add more to that song, Daniel? Absolutely. I can add trumpets. I can start trying to go in. But instead of overwhelming myself with this great monolith of stuff that I need to get past in order to have the perfect song, I just leave and I go work on something else. And then maybe the next day I come back in and I go, what can I add on top of this glockenspiel? Maybe a xylophone hitting the same exact thing. And then I add that. I do the same process where I get it sounding exactly like I want it, and then I leave. And I come back later. Don't try to break it all into one day. I'm not saying you can't. Sometimes you can. I have deadlines, right? Sometimes I have to write an entire song in a matter of hours, and I do it. But I'm saying most people don't work like that, and nobody really should. So, Daniel, just break it into small chunks. I'm sure you've been in a Friday stream. You know that in the Friday stream, I would hazard to say that I never go from silence to a song. To a good, complete song in a stream. And the stream's 6 hours long. I'm not even really getting up for breaks half the time. A song like Dropout that is almost pretty much completely finished in the stream, that took months and months of every Friday opening it up, listening to that same like listening to that. I'm sick of it. I'm sure you guys are too. I'm sure you guys are sick of hearing that. I'm so tired of hearing that chord progression, but every time I opened it up, I said, what else can I add here? What else can I add? What else can I add? Maybe I'll chop up the vocals this time. Maybe I won't. You know, there was an old arrangement, then I trashed it. I made a new arrangement. It's grown over time. I would honestly say, Daniel, that having the scheduled stream, even if I did a stream, guys, and none of you came into it, like on the Friday, like it was just a dead stream, I'd still be there and I'd still work on the music for the 6 hours. Having the stream does add a little bit of structure to me working on music. So it's like 9 o'clock, I got my smoothie, I'm ready to go, blah, 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 add as much as I can. 3 o'clock gets here, no more time for personal music. Before I did the production stream, I would just produce like all day sometimes. And this could actually be bad for my workflow instead of good. You'd think, well, work all day should be good, right? But, you know, you get burnt out a lot easier. But anyways, Daniel, I think that I beat the dead horse. You understand what I'm saying? Definitely try that. Definitely try that. Because I struggle with that same exact thing. There are so many times, even last night, Daniel, opening up a song, hearing what I hear in my head, hearing the strings, and hearing like the trumpets, and hearing the lead line, hearing all of my vocal takes, hearing it all together, and I'm just like, yes, it sounds so good. And then I click play, and there's just like a kick there, and I'm like, ugh. And then I'll just close Fruity Loops sometimes, because I'm just like, I don't even know where to start, and I start trying to make one part of it, and it just doesn't sound good. It isn't matching up with what I'm hearing in my head. Sometimes you just gotta lay down something, and you gotta go away for a little while. 99% of the time, you will not finish a song in a day. Only time this happens is when you really are feeling kind of way. Yeah, this is true, Obey. I've definitely ran through a song in a day. Venomade was that way, actually. Wait, Venomade? Yeah, Venomade was that way. I made Venomade, like, wildly fast, and I wish I hadn't sometimes. I'm concerned for anyone who thinks working all day is conducive to creativity. Yeah, more breakbeats, please. I agree with Cyber on this one. But yeah, I think that might help you, Daniel, and it might not. It might not, but there's a possibility that it might. I've been splitting songs into chunks, and sometimes I feel bad for people in the Friday stream because it might seem a little more, what's the word? It might seem, hmm, it might seem chaotic because I'm not really spending too much time on a song unless I'm super inspired. Or I might sit on a song, mess around, and not come up with anything for like 20 minutes, and then I finally just leave. And then I feel like people in the stream might be like, "Yo, what the heck? You spent like 20 minutes just looping the beat and playing random piano chords, and now you just deleted and moved on to another song." Sometimes you just have to do that. You know? Sometimes you got to do it. Oddly enough, if I finish something really quickly, says Diz, it doesn't feel done to me. Speaking of art generally. Word, word, word. Now I feel you on that. One of the greatest things about this technique that I'm talking about, Diz and Daniel and Lindsay and Cyber and Leanna and Umbe, is that once you get to the end, the sweet, sweet end. Now that I'm at the end, sometimes I go back and I like scroll through, Dropout, or I'll scroll through Boss of Fire, or I'll scroll through, some of these songs that I've just been working on for weeks, months, and months, and months, and months. I'll scroll through them and I'll like hear a little thing. I'll hear like a triangle that I don't even remember adding. I'll see like layered claps that I don't remember putting all that work into. And you can see you can see the fruits of your labor when you work really slow, because when you work really slow you're focused on the minutia, and that stuff really does make a difference, guys. There's no way that I can make a song like Dropout in a day because it's just too complex, and that complexity came from months of growth of the song and of me as an artist. But yeah, Ombe says my favorite thing is to work on a track for 3 hours and be like, wow, you know what? This sounds like trash, and delete it. Yo, I'd be doing that a lot. Umbe. There's two completely opposing but valid schools of thought. Which one says, never delete anything. Always save everything, because you never know. You never know when this thing might end up pulling you out of a jam. This thing might end up pulling you out of your writer's block. This thing might end up making you a buck. This thing might be worth something to someone. This might be some dude that lives in Alaska's favorite song if you release it. There's a lot of people that say never delete anything. And there's a completely opposite school of people that say, if you don't feel the fire, clean the house. Like if you're working on a beat and 2 hours in, you're like, this just doesn't hit, delete it. Because you should only work with fire. You can't make fire out of trash. Like if you get the spark, keep working on it. But if you don't feel it, delete it. And I think both of these schools of thought are two things that I have practiced both of them, and I think they're both very valid and very helpful. There have been a lot of times where my hard drive and just my brain has been bloated and cluttered with all these projects because I liked one lead line in it, so I wouldn't delete it. But a whole 2 years goes by and nothing's happening with this track, just because I've gotten too attached to the lead line. Or maybe I made something where I really like the way the snare hit in this song, so I keep trying to make it valid, make it matter, make it count. And it just doesn't. Sometimes you gotta delete those things, or take that snare and put it in a different song, But I definitely practice both of these, My inventory, my directory in FL Studio is so bloated from all of the things I've done. And I would say out of my entire Fruity Loops library, maybe 20% of that stuff is released. 25 if I'm being generous. And then most of it is just ideas that I fell in love with, and now every time I open them it feels bad to delete it because I worked on it for 3 days. But some of those things just gotta go. Some of them gotta go. So I'm with you on that, Umbe. Okay, I have a hard time, says Daniel, wrapping my head around how to make something with so many different parts. Like, I'll want to make some glitchy IDM beat, and I'll need to design each noise, and I'll just have a hard time wrapping my head around the amount of time it will take to get every single thing. Okay, Daniel, this is a really good point. This might not seem like it's going to apply to other art forms that aren't like glitchy or complextro, things like that, but it does. Okay, So here's what actually happens, Daniel. Think of glitch step. Think of complextro. Think of plunder phonics, right? Because remember we make that in the stream. Think of these as, it was not worded badly, Daniel. I understand exactly what you're talking about. Think of it as a collage, right? So if it's a collage, you're not you're not placing everything in its perfect place, right? You're not placing everything in its perfect place. A lot of what you're doing, if you think about a collage, there's a lot of overlap, there's a lot of things happening. And half the time, if somebody showed you the early stages of a collage, you're not going to get exactly what ended up happening in the end. Think of it this way, Daniel, which might even be a better analogy. Have you ever looked at somebody do I love these. When people do those time-lapse drawings where they're drawing something, and there's like, you quickly realize throughout the steps of them drawing the thing that there was like 8 different iterations of the way this person was posed. Like you see their arm drawn like this, then it gets erased, and then it's drawn like this, and then it's erased again, then it's behind their back, and then it's erased, and it's like around somebody, then they draw that person, then they erase their arm and move it to their waist, and it's like, oh, there's a lot of different like versions of this drawing. Yeah, me too. I like it on the keys too. I like the way that the pianos glow also some. But music is the same way when we're talking about complextro, when we're talking about glitch up, when we're talking about those things. What you need to do, Daniel, or what I would advise you do, is get just the plain progression out, right? Like, what's the progression that you're working on? Maybe your chord progression is like the progression that I made for the song, that Cyber song, the Cyber song. That was the chord progression from that song. If you listen to the song, the chord progression doesn't exactly go like that per se in the song. There's a lot of like, there's like a pause there, then there's like a dog bark, you know, and then there's a pause there, and Cyber's talking, then there's like a umbe quote in there. You know, I built the entire progression. When you're making a complextro song, when you're making a plunderphonic song, you build the progression. And then you kind of go in with an X-Acto knife or an eraser, and you like erase a little smidge here, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna put this sound here. And you design a new sound, then you erase something here, then you put a little sound there. When people are making complextro songs and those things, they're not making it in chronological order of the timeline. What they're making it is chronological order in the timeline of layers. Think about it from top to bottom instead of from left to right, which may have convoluted this explanation even more. Just think of it as like you build the song and then you gradually go in and you start plugging in stuff to make it more. You start erasing things and plugging things into those holes, erasing something and plugging it into those holes, erasing something down here and plugging it into a hole. You don't make the entire collage all in one go like that. You just don't. And so that makes it a lot easier, Daniel. Don't think about, complextro always starts off simple. Plunderphonics always starts off simple. When the Just Believin' song first started, it was just it was like a 8-second phrase that Cyber had said that I was. Now it's a lot. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of like other quotes happening. There's like movie quotes pushed in there. There's a lot. There's like umbe sighing at a certain point. There's a lot in there, and I'm saying that stuff came later. That came like weeks later, right? I had to erase little like nodes in Cyber's voice to fit those things in there, and then I took Cyber's voice and I doubled it and like octaved it up so it's like a chipmunk Cyber, and that's going underneath Cyber's voice too. And then I mirrored that with a little like jazz scat vocals, a little like da 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 da. All that stuff is coming later. I'm not writing it from beginning to end. And you should think of it the same. Like that's how we think of songs, right? It'll be like, if you think about a song, if anybody here thinks about a song, songs are made in layers. They're not made chronologically. If you hear I always pick Katy Perry. I shouldn't pick Katy Perry. Let me pick it. If you pick Billie Eilish, if you hear a Billie Eilish song, Billie Eilish didn't record the first word of the song, and then they recorded the kick that aligns with that word, and then they recorded the hi-hat that's at that space of the song, then they recorded the first note of the piano, then they recorded the first note of the bass, and they're like, all right, time to record section 3 seconds. And then you go to the third second of the song, and then you record all the stuff that's going to happen in the third second of the song. You just record it in layers. And then if you get to another layer that seems to conflict with one of the higher layers, you change the higher layer to make room for the lower layer. You just kind of keep doing that over and over. You know, it's like paint, you know? You like put down your, your base coat, and then you put on the real paint, but you don't go in your room with 2 different paintbrushes going like, base coat, and then paint over that, and then base coat, and then paint over that. You paint the entire room with your base coat, and then you paint the entire room with whatever's going on top of that. And then you go on top of that. You kind of do it that way. And I think the difficulty that you're talking about is trying to, it can be overwhelming when you have to do all of the layers at once, which is just, I'm sure it's possible. I'm sure somebody writes music that way, but heaven help them. Mike says, does this have a point, or is it Oigan? Oh, going nowhere. Oh. You know what, Mike? I like your jokes. They're very indulgent for me, anyway, because they are my songs. But can I play Going Nowhere? That's not Going Nowhere. Going Nowhere is. I don't remember which the chords are, but they're right next to each other. I'll remember it later. They just feel like it's really good. Says this. Jimbo Cyber. Why is Billie Eilish speak up? So I can barely hear her. They just give her the most sensitive mic ever. She doesn't need to speak up. Says Liana. At least some of you will get them. Oh my goodness. Ugh. Sometimes I wish I liked Billie Eilish music. Sometimes. I got that stuck in my head. Anybody remember that song? And then it's like, it's a can't find that chord. Does anybody know what I'm playing? I remember the bass line says, it's like, it's like, it's a wrist doing? Hmm. 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 It hurts. It's better, it's better, it's better. It doesn't hurt as much, but it's not the same as my left one. Maybe it was the fruit. Maybe it was the fruit all along. Oh, I've always wanted to be that person. Wow. That's fun. That song's fun. I gotta record those vocals already. It's gonna be fun when I record those vocals. I just need lyrics. My mom let me borrow a wrist brace she had. I didn't have to buy a new one. Hooray, hooray. But she didn't find the old one. So you still have two. Where's the other one? I never roll up my sleeves, but I like the way it looks. I remember seeing... I'm so impressionable. I remember seeing a man... what a man he was. I remember seeing a man in a store named Buffalo Exchange. And he was wearing the jacket that I want. Which was, you know those like really crappy jean jackets with the like fur that like every idiot in any teen drama has? It's just a denim jacket with like the fur collar thing. I really wanted that. Hey, Buffalo Exchange is in LA. Buffalo Exchange is everywhere. There's Buffalo Exchange in Oregon. There's Buffalo Exchange in Arizona. There's Buffalo Exchange, I'm pretty sure, in Texas. It's pretty widespread. Was it Gucci? It wasn't. It wasn't, but I do appreciate the joke, Mike. I don't know what brand it was. Brokey? Anyways, he had one of those on. And I remember he at a certain point in the store, he like took off the jacket to try on a button-up, and he put on the button-up, and then he rolled up the sleeve specifically, and was like looking at himself in the mirror, and I was like, huh, why don't I ever do that? And I started doing it for like a good like 2 weeks. I was like rolling up all the sleeves of my button-ups, and I was like, wow, this really makes me look like a full-grown man, not like some kid, not like some child. I gotta roll my sleeves to get down to business. There was no business to get down to. I did find my Jack LA shirt says Liana, and I forgot it has your name on it. Oh, Liana, there's so much I want to say. Rolling up my sleeves and putting my hair up has the same effect on my focus. Ooh. I have also a thing, when girls wear sweaters but they pull their sleeves up to their elbows, I don't know, certain things. It's got the same effect on me that cheese skirt does. I shouldn't bring jokes here from the Discord. I apologize. If you weren't there for the cheese skirt conversation, don't worry about it. Yeah, Liana, I wish I had that shirt. What color is it, Liana? Is it yellow? I always think of chord progressions as being one of the most defining parts of a song, right? Chord progressions being very defining of a song. If you make a song that goes like this, and then somebody else has a song that goes like this. Brain, those songs are very, very similar because I'm so sensitive to and interested in chord progressions. But the weird thing about disco music, which is a genre of music that I've been dabbling in tonally lately, the weird thing about, like, you know, disco, new disco, city pop, a lot of these disco adjacent genres, is they use the same chord progressions. And I don't think anybody in that world is looking at another, you know, city pop artist and going, well, that's my chord progression. No, like disco people are like, I think I hit those four chords in my song as well. It's like not about the chords. In the same way that nobody in drum and bass listens to another song and goes like, he stole my drums. Like, that's my drum pattern. I make that. Like, it's not what the song's about. And going into disco music and realizing that it's not about the chords has been both very freeing and also kind of restraining for me, which I know sounds um, paradoxical. I don't know. I think it's freeing because it's like, oh, I don't have to stress about coming up with new chords or interesting chord progressions. I can kind of live in the predictable chord arrangements. I can kind of just do this. I can just do those, and it's easy and it's fun and it's predictable and it's fine. It's been done before, and instead the identity of the song lives in a lot of other things around it. It lives in the vocals. It lives in the performance of the melody. It lives in a lot of these other things, and even the rhythm is pretty repetitive and indicative of the genre, derivative of the genre. And so it's been freeing because it's like, oh, I don't have to stress about chords. But it's been restricting because I'm just like, oh, that's where a lot of my voice lies. So if I can't rely on that, what do I rely on? And so, like, providing vocals for and vocal processing for a lot of these disco adjacent songs I've been making has been a very big challenge for me. And I'm glad. You should always try to be at least somewhat challenged. Cheese skirts are so gross looking, says Cyber. Oh, don't tell me that, Lindsay. What, like, Swiss cheese? What, Diz, what are you talking about? I missed it. I missed whatever it is. I missed what Swiss cheese is. I remember in elementary school, I used to get upset when one of my friends rolled up his jacket sleeves because I didn't get why he wouldn't just take it off. Oh, because it looks dope, I think. I think the answer is that it looks dope. It's like cuffing pants. It looks cool. Disco, new disco, old disco, disco adjacent, disco with shrimp, disco with chicken, fried disco. Oh, is that a Bubba Gump reference? Cyber? People steal each other's bass lines a lot, says Leanna, in drum and bass. Oh, for sure. I'm wearing long sleeves. I always roll them up when I'm washing my hands so they don't get wet. Ah, word. I'm so sorry, but I've got to get this out, says Mike, who I assume is going to make another joke. I accidentally replaced Omniboy with a different word, and it concerned with the fact that it makes sense if it fits in. What? That reminds me of the video. I don't think I own a baggy sweater. I don't think I own a baggy sweater. My friend, the one that I was like eating with and hanging out with while I was in Korea, she wears those sweaters that are like, if she goes like this, it's just like a straight line from the sleeve to the bottom of the sweater, like a triangle. I could never wear that. Anyways, sorry about what I'm with. Oh. What, Mike? What are you talking about? Do you ever upload your tracks to really new music sites? No. I don't. I don't upload my tracks to new music sites. I very rarely eat at new restaurants, and I do not buy launch day consoles. Do you not like baggy sweaters or something? I'm confused why I shouldn't tell you that. No, baggy sweaters are cool. Baggy sweaters are cool. Mine aren't that baggy. That's a trash bag. Whoa, Liana, whoa. Okay, do we really need to define what baggy is? This is not baggy. Okay? I have baggy. I sleep in hockey jerseys. I have baggy clothes. That I just don't wear because it's too baggy. I have a shirt you wouldn't believe. I have a you wouldn't even believe this is a shirt for humans. The type of shirt that I have in my closet that I'm not gonna wear on stream. But I do have a really big shirt. I'll send you a picture maybe later. Anyways, do not buy launch consoles, says Cyber. Yeah, don't do it. Also, don't upload your hard work to a new site that is unproven. I mean, I know a lot of people want to hit the ground first on things, which is cool. That's respectable. But like, I'm just saying, as somebody who has, had some horror stories with like my music and maybe not reading through things properly before clicking the I agree or I accept and then uploading stuff. There's, you know, don't be afraid, but be aware. Beware. Daniel says Omni's got to show us his fight strap, and for a brief moment, I forgot what a fight strap was. I forgot that we had that whole conversation. I forgot what it was, and I got scared. I can show you. I don't want to. No, no. You know what? You guys made me close the closet door. I'm not gonna go in there. It's closed forever. It's closed for good. Stadia Gang says anybody. Oh, that's pretty sick. The Stadia was pretty sick. As somebody that didn't buy it and didn't ever intend to because it ran on internet, and as we know, my internet is trash here, so buying a Stadia would have just been a hilarious mistake. Whoa. Oh. Ooh. Interesting, Mike. Are you using T9? How is Booba doing? I don't know. Booba's fine. Booba's fine. Don't make me look at him. Just don't. I don't want to look at him. I don't want to look at him right now. I did a whole thing. It's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He'll be okay. I think he's fine. I did get him. I did get him, Liana, but I don't want to look at him. It's different. Mike, I've lost it. I don't know what you're talking about anymore. But it is past 11. I don't know how I managed to go 2 complete hours without doing a morning medley. You guys are alive. I feel like the 2 songs I've been spending a lot of time in these past few streams are this one. Because I've been trying to develop that one and get like a solid into it. I want it to be like Into Thin Air, where it is like a fully realized song with a lot of like complexity and water flowy type notes in it. So I've been spending a lot of time on that, and I've also been spending a lot of time on this song. But that's just because I like that song a lot. Right now, I think that's like, this is like my baby. It is the piano version of what the stream has sometimes, where I'll have songs like the Cyber song or Dropout, where it just becomes like my baby. That's my baby now. I want to change it up the next time though, through. You know what I'm saying? We really gotta settle on the title for that one. It's saved now as Just Believing. Cyber. It's saved now as Just Believing. I will, from this point forward, not refer to it as the Cyber song, but will instead refer to it as Just Believing. This is a strap on the inside, hockey jersey, that helps secure. Yeah, it's on the inside. It's on the inside. I think they wear a thing under it that has like a little buckle on it. But for this song, what I want to do is. And then I want to start going to a different place slightly, like. And then. I want to change it. Like, I don't want it to just be the same exact chord progression, if that makes sense. Like something wild, right? Where it goes up a little bit higher. It's in there somewhere. Dang it, homie. Hockey is wild, says this. I will agree with this. Play with your fingers, glide to. Let your soul control your song. I don't have a soul, Mike. Whoa, what if this part of the song is really long? Grab your shoe sole and slap it on the keyboard, says Mike. Oh, Mike. You think shoes make it to my bedroom in this house? I can't remember the last time my shoes have been in my bedroom. They would never make it this far. I just have to get. I can't do it in waltz then. I don't think I can do it in waltz if I'm doing that. Da 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 very, very close. Very close. I like it now. My soul's in soul on the floor where the soul steps solely on the Korean ground. I like this wordplay, Cyber. Reminds me of Sesame Street, which is something I always wanted to be on, which I think I've missed my chance. I'm gonna heat up some Chinese leftovers after, says Diz. Chinese leftovers, what a gamble. Sometimes great, sometimes a nightmare. I need to eat lunch soon, says Lindsay. I need to eat breakfast soon, says Omni. This says if your dog ate your shoes, does that make it soul food? I like this joke. As somebody that hasn't had soul food in a very long time. I haven't had soul food in a very long time. Biz. This is like what? Oh, what? Get off of there. That's wild. The wildest thing just happened. Anyways, this is like what I like about Venomade, too. That part towards the end that really makes you feel happy inside. It reminds me of that. That's very sweet, Mike. Venomade is a very sad song, and the whole point of the end being very happy was to try to make the song sonically mirror the lyrics, which were basically the lemons and lemonade thing. You know, you got some bad things, you make the best of it, and the best of it I could make was a jazzy chord progression. And it does have that kind of like, and it's like swung, you know? That's exactly it. That's exactly it. I did it. I did it. One more time in 38. Wait, did I play the sound? Did I play 264? It's called modulated bass. Ooh, I do hear the modulation. Changes? Lewis Cole bass. Ooh, I appreciate that. Okay. That is a fun one though. But I think that is the arrangement for that song. Hold on, 38, 38. I think that is the arrangement for that song where it's like. jump up that is difficult. The yeah, that's the part that's hard. Do 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 do. Chords, guys, chords. Spend time. Spend time on them. They're fun. They're good. Ooh. It is, Diz. It is. All you need now is some existential lyrics about not being able to pay your bills. Ooh. Ooh. You know what sucks? There is a through line between me and Lewis Cole, and I don't like it. As much as I like that man. I don't like that. I don't like that I also. Ooh. What is that chord? That's fun. No. Whatever. Anyways, point is, I don't like that. I also am like all about like really complicated music, tones and chords and movements and rhythms, but also my lyrics tend to be less fun. My lyrics exist in two different forms, which is nonsensical and funny to dark and sad. And that's also where Lewis Cole lives. His music lyrics are either like existential and sad or hilarious and nonsensical. Have you ever met Lewis? Wait. Have I met like Lewis Cole in person? Yeah. I have a picture of it. I have a picture. There's a picture of us. I can put it in the stream. It's kind of blurry. I'll put it in the Discord. But yeah, I have met him. He does live here. And we do, or I should say, used to, go to a lot of the same places. Because there's a place in Little Tokyo called Blue Whale that quite a few really talented musicians hang out in. If you ever are in LA and you want to run into jazzy musicians that are more so like electronic jazz, like this weird other sect, not like classic jazz bebop, but more so like the Lewis Coles, the Maxos of the world. I'm not gonna include myself in with them because I'm trash, but like other artists who aren't trash hang out in Blue Moon. That's where I met Lewis Cole. Funnily enough, that's also where I met Louis Zong. For anybody who knows who Louis Zong is, I also met him in there. What setup did you use for Venomade? If you're talking about making music, if you're talking about making the song, the setup I used for Venomade was a Dell Inspiron laptop. And this keyboard. I use this keyboard for the intro chords. That's it. So like, what is it? No, it's like, no, it felt wrong. I just used this for the intro Rhodes piano chords, and then everything else was just on my laptop in FL Studio. That's what the setup was. Omni, what happened earlier? Did something fly in your window? Yes, a fly flew into my window, and it promptly flew right back out, so he's gone. Dude, Louis Zong is a really good artist. I like his song Ghost Choir. Yeah, his music's great. He's very talented, and he's also very nice. Some people are really talented, and they're not very nice. I would say he's really cool. He's the only reason that I wanted to buy a proper street bike, because the last time I saw him, he was like, yeah, I rode my bike here, and he was like, how did you get here? And I was like, the subway, like a normal human. And he was like, yeah, I ride my bike everywhere. And then I was like, I definitely left, my impressionable butt left that conversation like, let me look up prices of bikes. Do I need to be riding a bike everywhere? Anyways, yeah, Louis Zong's great. definitely listen to or follow Louis Zong on social media if you can. He's another person that I should text at some point because I I've been dead for a long time. I do like how certain songs that I recorded with this piano, this keyboard, particularly sound font number 10, the suitcase, the cool suitcase electric piano, this sound, has been in several of my songs. And so I'm getting not just the notes right, but I'm getting the actual like sonic quality. When I sit down here and I play Gucci Gang, it sounds exactly like it. It's not just any Rhodes piano hitting those chords, it's the exact sound that I use. And part of that is the reason that I don't really want to get rid of this keyboard. There have been times where I've thought maybe I should upgrade and get a new, like a weighted key keyboard that feels good, and maybe that time will come. But it is hard to part with something when it has like sounds that you've used directly in your songs, and getting rid of that piece of hardware will also mean kind of getting rid of that sound. Anyways, I was asking about BB&G because there's a song I wanted to recommend to people who like them. Bad But Not Good. Oh, word. Do I like them? They have come up in the stream. They used to come up in the stream a lot. Bad But Not Good, Snarky Puppy, and Hiatus Coyote used to be like brought up in the stream a lot. I think because like I made jazzy music and they also are jazzy. But I do like Bad Bad Not Good. Yes. How many shade levels are through the roof? Did I throw shade? I wouldn't bike in high traffic areas, says Liana. Oh. I did. I did at one point, so I can't say I wouldn't. But yeah, it's not great. The nightshade. What was I? There was something I was gonna say. It was somewhat important. I can't remember. Hopefully, it'll come back to me halfway through the news, guys. I have some releases out. One of them's called Signals. It's bebop jazzy music, and the other one's called House of Omni. It's collaborative EP, so the genre kind of changes quite a bit depending on who I'm working with. There's a third one called Tall Tales, which is more so experimental. It has the song Beneath the City on it. I also have the Dream series, starting with Nice Dream, which is indie pop, followed by Love Dream, which is... Come on, bro. Get out of here. How did he come through such a small hole, like a small gap? They know exactly what they're doing. You're huge, dude. You're massive. There you go. Anyways, followed by Love Dream, which is like love songs. It's a love song EP. Followed by Speed Dream, which is a story that I wrote and did the score for. Followed by Daydream, which is more orchestral and like chill, but also kind of busy, percussively busy, tonally and musically chill. Also, that album features Azuriah Sky. That's followed by Lush Dream, which features no one. It's just me on the entire thing, and it is my longest piece of music, but it's long because it's meant to be played in the background. It's more of like a chill beats mixtape for me. And then that was followed by the sister EPs. Quick Breath and Ego Death. Quick Breath being more of a variety of different types of music that I was making at the time. It also features Abby Press and Only Tom. And finally, Mia Gladstone, who I love dearly and who still hasn't texted me back. Also, that's followed by a very ambient EP, which features Young Skirt. I'm going to start listing the features when I mention the songs now. Well, for at least the final few. I'll list the features. But a lot of the people in my earlier works aren't really active, so it would feel weird to list the feature of somebody that doesn't even necessarily make music anymore. Like, I don't know if Jemmy makes music anymore, and I mean that with all love and respect. I just don't know exactly what she's doing. Yes, but I think that's it. I think that's all the releases. 2021 is just around the corner, guys, after we get Christmas and Thanksgiving. When is Thanksgiving? I need to call my mom. My mom hasn't called me for a minute, and I feel like maybe... No. Anyways. I'm getting sidetracked. Point is, new music next year. New merch next year. You know what's really funny? I like kind of dark funny, but it's funny to me anyway. This is exactly where I was last year. Remember in like November 2019 when people were like, "Yo, when's new music coming out? When's new merch coming out? When are new shows happening?" And I'm like, "Yo, next year, baby." I pushed everything to next year. 2020, new merch. 2020, new music. 2020, new merch. 2020, you're gonna see me, baby. And then this happens, so I feel like I'm saying it again, and I can't help but feel a little bit ridiculous because who knows, honestly. But currently, I am planning to release music and do all that stuff next year. And when I say all that stuff, I mostly mean releasing music and merch. Who knows when I'm going to be able to play an actual concert again. But, yes, next week. Thank you guys for the Thanksgiving update. But, that's it, and that's all the news. You can hear all those bodies of work on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube, which we're on right now. And I also have some exclusives on YouTube, so go over to my page or subscribe or whatever. I feel like everybody in here is subscribed, so maybe pointless. But if you are watching this stream later and you aren't subscribed, do that probably. Do that probably because there's new videos coming out next year, like that aren't streams. Umbe says, "Oh, that was the chillest fly I've ever seen." Why was it chill? Oh, because like after I talked to it for a second and told it to leave, it just flew out the window. I mean, he got what he wanted. I think he just wanted some love and attention. It's fine. New merch 2032, baby, says Diz. Oh, I'm not gonna live that long. Your hard drives are bursting at the seams. Yeah, there's a lot of music that I need to figure out how to, or what to do with, I should say. I would have 100% go to an Omni concert. I appreciate that, Mike. That means a lot. I'm gonna do it. Gonna get out this music rut. Must upload. Well, I hope whatever you upload, you are proud of, and I hope that sharing it brings you joy, Umbe. I'm late, but I'm here, says Crow. You're late, but you're here. You're here in time to hear Hush Hour, though, Crow. So, how late could you possibly be? Fun fact, I've never been to a concert I wanted to go to personally, says Mike. Yikes. Well, I hope you get one soon. I've only ever done one. It was my little sister's birthday. Not going to live that long. That's only 12 years from now. 12 years is a very long time, Diz. A lot can happen. And a lot cannot happen. This song is called Hush Hour. I finished the arrangement for it while I was in Hong Kong. I want to go back to Hong Kong, man. The joy part comes later, says Umbe. Since my monkey brain is only satisfied by seeing a red heart, not first good. The Social Dilemma, that documentary on social media, and they were talking about like the dude that invented the like button was talking about how much he regretted it. And I thought that was really funny. Eventually go on tour, don't get too popular. I want to be able to afford the tickets. Oh, don't worry, Mike. People don't like me that much. Kingdom Hearts says Cyber. What? Oh, right, hearts, right. The red heart. I was like, whoa, my brain missed like 5 steps before Kingdom Hearts. But yeah. Okay, today is Thursday, which means that it is the final stream before Friday's stream. I can't play piano, I played Hush Hour already. It's the last one before Friday's production stream, so I will be streaming starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow, ending at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So, for those of you that don't know, now you know it is a pretty long stream. Feel free to come in for however long you want, whether it's 5 minutes or the 6 hours. The past few have gone over the 6-hour duration, and yesterday not yesterday, last week the internet did do the thing, It was a nightmare. I got locked out of YouTube, and then when I did start the second stream, it was in 360 video for some reason. And then once I ended that, like we had the final stream, it was a nightmare. It was much like the first production streams, how messy those were. So I have called my internet provider. They're probably not going to do anything, but let's just hope that we can get through tomorrow's 6 hours without a disconnection nightmare, huh? The funniest thing I saw yesterday, says Cyber, was a video of a 2008 election where will.i.am was being interviewed via hologram on CNN. It made me laugh so hard. I mean, I'm not even looking at it. I'm just hearing about it. That's really funny. Do we get a new prompt on Discord? How do I join the Discord, says Mike. There's your link. Thank you, Cyber. Umbe says 360 video is godlike. Please let it come back. No, Umbe, that was horrible. Nothing about that was good. The shape of my head in that was wild. There was a particular stomach. One of you guys sent in a screenshot into the Discord that was like, it was like the piano had been turned into like a 360 form and it was my hands playing it like that. And I was like, that's kind of cool. I did like that. That would be like cool visuals for who, I don't know, but I did like that. I'm sorry again about the 360 stream. I was losing it. I didn't even know how to fix it. I was hoping I would be able to fix it without having to start a new stream. That's the problem. But I got that all figured out. Yeah, hopefully tomorrow goes a little bit smoother. I don't have a specific prompt. Cyber did the prompt last time, but if I'm being honest, I'm probably going to end up working on the track from last stream, from last production stream. I'm probably going to end up spending quite a bit of time like messing around with that. So, no stress, no rush on like new prompts or anything, because that song is hefty now. There's a lot of y'all in it. Thank you, Cyber. Thank you, Cyber. I am going to watch that. But yeah, tomorrow's a production stream. I think that's all. I think that's all the news. It's so funny because I feel like once things gradually start, it's funny talking about like once things get back to normal, once things start opening up again, because like a lot of places are like re-entering lockdown and they're like they're like going the other direction. But whenever that is, once we start getting back to business, it's fun because there will actually be news to talk about. Right now, the entirety of all news is like, it's just my music. Still waiting on the ambient dedicated stream work on the ambient track. Yes, at some point. Definitely not tomorrow, but probably next month. Probably. Yes. Yes. I feel good about that. Thank you everybody thank you Crow for making it before Hush Hour. I appreciate that. Thank you everybody for being here, making the time for it on a Thursday. Thank you people for being respectful to me and polite to each other. I do hope you have the rest of the Thursday that is some way pleasing. And hopefully I'll see you tomorrow for Morning Medley number 265. Season 3 is approaching. Season 3 is approaching. I'm not going to stress about it. I'm inventing stress at this point. I don't even have to do anything. I don't even really have to change for 300, but I'm like creating new stress things because that's what I be doing. Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you. See you in the Discord. Abo, everybody.